speaking of freezing overnight temperatures, it's always a good idea to find a warm space for your pets, even if if you think they like to stay outside, or they tend to like to stay outside all the time. Is that right, Dr. Jaimie Ronchetto from Cinema Veterinary Center?
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. As we talked about before, it's just a really good reminder that if it's too cold for you to stay outside, it's too cold for them, even if they have a fur coat.
Fur coat, or like the dog loos or anything like that. That cold stuff still gets in. And I've been talking about this too for the last couple of days, and even with your cats who like to maybe roam around at night, because this is whenever there's extreme temperatures, hot or cold, the wild critters will roam the streets looking for something easier to digest, as it were. Whether it's food that you've left out for your pets, which is they kind of, as they say, they are wily, and they'll figure out that there are pets around. And yes, they can scale walls. So
absolutely,
they are incredibly clever. Mm-hmm. The holidays are coming.
They are almost here,
and a lot of people think they like to give pets, dogs, cats, or anything else for Christmas, and surprise, the boyfriend, the girlfriend, the husband, the wife, and especially the kids.
Right.
And we want to talk a little bit about the cautionary tales of and or alternatives to that, because what you were mentioning off the air is usually like by February we start to see an increase in shelter activity from what were wonderful little cuddly Christmas presents that turned into problems.
Right. It, like you said, it does sound like a sweet idea to have little puppy with a red bow on Christmas morning. Just be sure that whoever you are gifting that to, that's what they really want, and they know what is demanded of them having a pet, whether it's a dog or a cat. Really good alternatives to that, if you think you want to give a gift of a pet instead of giving them the actual live animal, would be to give accessories or a gift certificate, for that particular shelter or rescue. And then they can take their time and go and pick out the right pet for them if they choose to do that. Because yes, by February, the shelters will be full of unwanted pets that wore out their welcome or weren't really wanted to begin with.
That's true, and especially giving pets to children, that they should understand the responsibility involved.
Right, and the parents need to understand that too, that you can tell your kids that this is their responsibility, but really, in the end, you got to make sure that it's
ultimately,
getting done
who's going to feed
in
case the kids forget? Who's going to? Because you tend to, as kids, they're just kids. That's what they're going to do. So that is a good idea. Or like you mentioned, also things like giving accessories and things like that.
Right. Give a leash or the bowls or something like that. So it's still a surprise, and they can be excited that then they get to go pick out that pet to go with those accessories.
Now, if let's say, hey, you know what, I do want this pet, and that's what I want you to get it for me for Christmas. What should people consider from a health perspective, and should they have that pet checked out before or after they give it to their loved one?
I think it depends on the situation a little bit, but it definitely is going to be necessary to get a health check at some point. If you have the time to do it beforehand, that's, I think, always best, so you know already that pet is healthy and that there's no concerns. But if before is not something that you can do just because of time or whatever, then definitely shortly after would be good to do. And we usually recommend, making sure that they're all up to date with vaccines, checking a stool test for parasites, making sure they're not having any coughing or sneezing, anything like that.
Dewormed, et cetera, et cetera.
Exactly.
Especially if you're giving a kitty cat, because those kittens, sometimes they seem to be born with them.
Yes.
And that's really important. You don't want to have something, especially you're giving as a gift, and all of a sudden, there's a problem. And that's another thing, aside from the responsibility of feeding and caring, is, of course, their health maintenance and things like that people have to take that into consideration, that you need to take them in for checkup just like you would take your kids in for a checkup.
Exactly. It is, a lifetime commitment for, the lifetime of that pet. And when they're young, certainly yearly exams are recommended. And then as they get older, every 6 months even is best. So. And
research the breed and learn.
Research the breed.
Learn how to train them properly so that they aren't a nuisance not only to you but to your guests and anybody else or other. So that's really important. Lastly, I think it's a good idea to remind people to please leash your dogs, even if you think they are trainable, and you could walk beside them without a leash. We had a situation in Old Orchard too where some dogs got out and attacked other dogs, so that's always a good idea.
Oh,
Because then
absolutely.
guess what? You're going to have to take your dog to the vet, and unfortunately in this case, I don't think that the owners of the dogs who did the damage, fortunately the dog survived but had huge lacerations on their neck. I don't think that they offered any type of assistance as far
That's
as the veterinary
unfortunate.
bills. So those
Yeah.
I'm just throwing it out there while you reminded me of that. But it's always good. We talk about behavior and training and things that you have to be in touch with as far
Right.
as owning a pet. So
Yeah, that's very true. Leashing is always important. I mean, there's been several episodes I've seen where there'll be an unleashed dog and the owner yells, "Oh, he's friendly." Well, you don't know if the other dog that is leashed,
Right.
that the owner's trying to keep under control, is friendly.
And especially they seem to get a little more protective sometimes when they are on a leash because they don't have the
Absolutely.
opportunity. So that's a really important fact, no matter how big they are or how small they are, especially. So really important. And of course, for all your veterinary needs, Cinema. That's what I mean to say. Cinema Veterinary Center. I guess I have cinnamon on the brain. Cinema Veterinary Center, located on Cinema Drive in Valencia. Cinemavet.com, and the number is
661-253-9300.
friendly staff and awesome modern service with internet access and things, and you could get your appointments set up and your prescription refills and things like that online. Really super cool. I love your service.
Thanks,
Dr. Ronchetto, for coming back out, and have a Merry Christmas.
Thank you. You too.